It was like someone else made Unknown Pleasures and we just stuck our names on it because it was written from the subconscious and we didn't know how we were doing it. We put a lot of effort into it and there was this thing. I guess it's like a woman having a baby for the first time. She's like, oh my God, what to do with it? You know, the midwife gives the baby to the mother and she's like, right, I've not done this before. It was just like that, really.
I've been waiting for a guy to come and take me by the hand.
The songwriting process in Joy Division was pretty quick. We only practiced for, I think it was 2 hours on a Wednesday night and 3 hours on a Sunday, because it was all we could afford. We'd get the ideas together. Ian would work on the lyrics at home, just remembering the track, because we couldn't record them. Insane to think you couldn't record it. It's nuts now.
He was very clever. He wrote great lyrics and he was my mate, but that person has been mythologised, extremely mythologised.
I think you get a lot of impression of Ian from some of the photo sessions that were done just before he died. At that point, he was pretty up and down and depressed and was on a lot of drugs to subdue his epilepsy.
Even when he was ill, he never stopped loving the group and telling you exactly what you needed to hear.
To see him now, you wouldn't think he laughed or you wouldn't think he even smiled, but he smiled a lot, yeah.
Unknown Pleasures was done roughly in 2 days recording. That would have been shorter, but I unfortunately spilled a bottle of brown ale down my amplifier, which extended it by a little bit. I can't believe I used to drink brown ale.
We were good at jamming. We were really good at jamming because gear would break. I think the first time Martin Hannett saw us was at Salford University when Bernard's amp went wrong.
I drank brown ale because no one would nick it out of the dressing room. That's why. No one else would touch the stuff, and it was sickly sweet and I liked it.
And me and Lucky just jammed for a few minutes and just made something up.
When you look at how young we were, we honestly didn't know our arse from our elbow. You needed Martin Hannett to realise what you had. We'd had a little dabble with Martin and we were impressed by him, by his knowledge, by his charisma. On Unknown Pleasures, it was pretty much the same. He insisted that we work at night. He told us the studio was cheaper. The romanticism of recording at night in Strawberry Studios was pretty spooky. I think the thing is that it was the start of his drug thing where the night seems attractive.
Martin didn't think we got enough.
He actually turned around and said, I want you to go in and write a couple of songs. We were like, what? We wrote Candidate there and then, Steve and I, just jammed it.
When we recorded Unknown Pleasures, we didn't just go in and record Unknown Pleasures and go home. We did a lot of songs. We had no idea that was what it was going to be. I mean, which is what every band does when you make your first record. You just go in and you do your best and then you pick the best out of what you've done.
I used to work in central Manchester, a place that did TV commercials. I used to get a bit bored sometimes. And I used to go and hang out in the Central Library in Manchester and I'd look for ideas for sleeves, record sleeves, because we just started with Joy Division and I looked for images for posters and sleeves.
Because we came from punk and none of us expected to be featured personally, you were able to get an image and a mystery surrounded you that was much more evocative and much more enthralling than having your face stuck on the record cover.
I found the Unknown Pleasures image in a scientific magazine.
At CP 1919 Pulsar image.
Or was it an encyclopedia? It's like the monolith on 2001. That is immediately what struck me about the image. I was very, very influenced by that film. I used to have pretty bad insomnia, so I used to watch videos. But I'd seen it a few times, so I used to have it just playing in the background while I was soldering away at stuff, and then the monolith caught my eye, and stuck in my mind. And I just looked at it, and there was some kind of resonance. And then when I saw the Unknown Pleasures image, there was a complete resonance there. And I thought this would make a great record sleeve. Then I gave it to Peter Saville. Originally it was black on white, and he reversed it out and reduced it which I like very much.
Every merchandiser you talk to will quite happily tell you bands being ripped off for bootlegs. Joy Division are firmly number one. We have never done anything about it for 43 years. You know, there's nothing more punk than that, is there?
The funny thing is, it's a great image, and we remember seeing it and saying, that would make a great T-shirt. And we don't do T-shirts. Band T-shirts. Fair enough. And there you go.
It's quite ironic that, you know, when the taxman did his investigation, the first thing he fined us for were Joy Division T-shirts, because he didn't believe that we were idiotic enough not to do them. Or idealistic enough not to do them. Because we didn't believe in promotion. Everything about Joy Division was about letting the music speak for itself.
To see it everywhere is... I've seen someone wearing a burqa with one on.
The Unknown Pleasures thing is, what do they call it these days? A meme.
I was watching a news item about a missile raid on Israel, and there was a teenage girl running for cover, and she had the Unknown Pleasures thing on.
If somebody else, because we didn't do T-shirts, if somebody else hadn't thought of putting it on a T-shirt, what would these people be wearing now? I wonder what the wavy lines mean.
Yeah. That was a very productive day, that day I skived off work.
We wanted it to sound like the Sex Pistols, the Clash, because that's what we loved. Power, the roar, ah! And when it wasn't, I was absolutely heartbroken.
Confusion in her eyes, it says it all. She's lost control.
I wasn't enamoured by the mixes.
Martin Hannett was very strange. It took 2 days to mix it, and we weren't allowed there when it was being mixed, so the first time we heard it was when it was finished. I think his attitude was, these idiots that have managed to write this superb album by mistake don't know what they're doing, so I'll get them out from under my feet and then I can do what I want without their stupid comments.
It was a completely different, same songs, but a completely different feel. And if anything, I'd say that it was too mature for me.
We'd done all these gigs and heard the power that we produced live on stage.
We were a great band because we were very, very, very tight as a unit.
Joy Division Live had a whacking, great, door-shaking, powerful sound. The sound of the studios was a real 1970s studio, and the walls were covered in thick carpet, shag pile carpet, and the floor was, and there was no reflective surfaces, so it was a completely dead studio. So it sounded like you were recording in a vacuum with no ambience at all.
Martin was a difficult character, but he gave us the gift of longevity. The albums are thoughtful, contemplative, melancholic compared to how Joy Division were live. So much more evocative. It really was a fantastic gift that he gave us at that point.
The idea was that Martin was going to add electronic ambience after, which he did do. You could do that now with the technology we have now, but in those days the technology wasn't really up to it, so you ended up with this kind of thin, watery reverb and put on this sound that was made in a vacuum, which I guess gave it an idiosyncratic sound.
At that point, I might have been writing, you know, decent, mature music, but I'm afraid I wasn't a decent, mature man in any way, shape or form. I was a punk. I was a screaming, angry, sweaty, aggressive punk, and I wanted our LP to be like that.
There was a plus side to it, but a negative side to it. Martin managed to capture the eccentricity of our sound and add some of his own eccentricities. He didn't capture the power.
We were lucky. We were lucky that what we did was fantastic. So maybe 5 songs that didn't actually make Unknown Pleasures. So, you know, Unknown Pleasures could have ended up being if we hadn't picked the right songs.
You know, in a funny way, looking back now, I'm so delighted that me and Barney didn't get our own way, because we would have bloody ruined probably one of the greatest albums of the 20th century.